Chosen ones, chosen ones, chosen ones. This is a very important message. The message is don't let your ego get in the way. Again, don't let your ego get in the way. Now, a lot of times we think ego is having this grandiose behavior. This larger than life, being this larger than life character. But no, that's not real ego. It could be somebody's ego, but for us, we're not going to identify that as our ego because we're not those type of people. You see, our ego is something that tries to justify our actions, that is not conducive to us, but one that seeks validation. Again, our ego is one that forces us to seek validation. A lot of times in situations that were temporary. Let me break this down. You meet somebody and you like them, whatever the case may be. And you're empathetic and sympathetic to their situation. Along the course of this interaction that you're with them, something happens that causes you to want to pull away. Whatever happens in the dynamic, something happens and it forces you to want to pull away or want to fix the situation the situation is forcing you to pour more into it for it to work. Now, you've already seen all that you're supposed to see. You already see that this person isn't ready or this person isn't equally yoked to you. This person may not be loyal. Whatever the case is, you see that the season is done. But because your ego is in the way of having that validation that you can make a situation work, that you can help heal somebody, that you are lovable, that you can love somebody, that you can stay and fix things and this and that. Because your ego is in the way for that validation, not necessarily the validation from the person, but situational validation. Because your ego is in the way for that situational validation, guess what? You're going to get caught up. This is how you end up with soul ties deeper than they should have been. This is how you end up getting burned in situations you weren't supposed to get burned in. It's because your ego was too caught up. Again, your ego was too caught up. And I'm speaking on this because of experience. I've been here before. I've been in relationships where I saw the season was up and I was seeking situational validation. Not validation from the person, but situational validation, meaning I can make the situation work. I can be a good man. I can do this. I can do that. And that extended the season I was with these people were in these situations only to not receive the validation, number one, because I ended up being burnt. And now I wasted more time and with a deeper soul tie than it should have been in the beginning. All because of my ego. And I see it now and I see it today. Situations I see I can make it work, or friends or family members or whatever the case may be, I see like, oh, let me pour myself more into this situation right here, and I know these people will be healed, or these people will see I'm a good person, this. No, that's my ego. My ego is deep down looking for validation from these situations, not necessarily from the people, but from the situations. Therefore, I put myself in high risk situations. Not necessarily like being evil Knievel high risk, but high risk as far as your energy, who you have soul ties with, these situations. It's a moment that God will call you to enter in a season or a situation, and at some moment, God will call you out. And I highly believe the longer you stay there past that season, is all your ego. Like I said, we tend to not think that we don't have an ego because we're not, loud and boisterous and, you know, look at me. But it's really your ego looking for validation when we stay in these situations, trying to heal people who don't want to be healed, trying to help people who don't want to be helped, people who've shown their true character. Now, this is not to say, it's your ego when you get with somebody and they may need a little help. That's not necessarily your ego if God called you to those situations. Now, if God didn't call you to a situation and you see that there's somebody that can help, you genuinely have to ask yourself, would you be okay if nobody poured back into you in this situation? Meaning if you help somebody and they never helped you again, or they never said thank you or appreciate it or anything, how would you feel? If you felt like you would do that, it wouldn't matter because you're doing that because of out of the kindness out of your heart, and you just believe this is something that you're called to do, it's not necessarily your ego. But if deep down inside the answer is yes, you would like some kind of recognition, and I mean a little bit past, every human wanting recognition for the good things they've done, but would you feel slighted? Would you feel hurt? Would you not have done what you have done if you didn't get the recognition? That's what I'm speaking on. If that answer is yes, you will feel some type of way, then whatever deed you're doing is out of the ego. Again, whatever deed you're doing is out of the ego. That's like if a friend asks you for $20 and you send it to him. Would you be upset, or would you not declare them a friend anymore? Or would you cuss them out mentally? Would you be through with them if they never repaid you? Then you didn't give out of the kindness out of your heart. You gave out of your ego. If they never repaid you and you didn't mind because you understood that you were just helping them in a situation and you were blessed that you had it, now you're not giving out of your ego. You're giving out the pure kindness of your heart. And back to the first situation where if somebody asks you for some money and you send it to them and they don't send it back, because you didn't send it out of the kindness out of your heart and you sent it from ego, that's where resentment comes. See, resentment creeps its ugly head when you were dealing out of your ego. Again, resentment creeps its ugly head when you were acting out of your ego. The only reason why you resent those old situations or relationships and things of that sort that didn't work out is because you were giving out of your ego and you expected something in return. Some kind of validation, some kind of reciprocation, something. You expected it and you didn't get it. So now you left empty-handed or you feel slighted. That's why you resent these people. You resent these situations. But that's only because you were in these situations or extended period of time because of the ego. But when you take a step back and you look at it and you say, I did what I did. I could have did, I did what I did because that's what I felt I had to do, or I did what I did because I knew that's what was needed in that situation for me because I'm a healer. I'm this, I'm a that, and I gave what I could have given. And when the time was up, I removed my hand and didn't extend past my season. Guess what? You don't have resentment for these people because you understand already. You're empathetic, so you already knew where they were coming from, correct? So you could have already seen that they weren't on your level. You could have already seen where the projection of where this situation or relationship was going to go. So you start bracing for impact. So then you start seeing it from the outside that you were just a beacon for these people. You were just a catalyst for these people. And now it's time for you to continue on your journey. So now you don't have the resentment, like I said, because you knew that you were a catalyst. But if you wanted that situation of validation, if you wanted things to work, if you wanted control, you wanted this, you wanted that, and those situations don't work out, now you have resentment. Like I said, if you want to avoid resentment, if you want to avoid being heartbroken or with deep soul ties that's unneeded, get your ego out of it. Again, get your ego out of it. Your ego is only for protection, especially with chosen ones. Our ego is only protection to protect our thoughts that we are good people, that we are valuable. Get out of your ego. Anyways, this is Rich. Y'all be safe out there. Love and blessings.